It's March 31st, 2018. We're just south of Los Angeles for the first ever El Trafico, the inaugural clash between LA Galaxy and Los Angeles FC. Tied at 3 seconds before stoppage time, this brand new rivalry has already delivered. But with the Galaxy pressing, more fireworks could be in store. To appreciate this day of firsts, the characters who have gotten us here, and one particularly noteworthy Swede, we should rewind. This episode is presented by Takis. Grab a bag today and ignite your intensity. On the precipice of stoppage time, this exact moment holds so much weight for every player on screen. For the guys in white, what comes next could mean they get off to not one, but 2 fresh starts. If considering the big picture, the Galaxy are MLS royalty. When the league began in 1994, the Galaxy were there. They've regularly competed for the MLS Cup, notching more appearances in the final and, more importantly, more wins than anyone else. Add to that a pair of US Open Cup wins plus a CONCACAF Cup victory, and they're one of MLS's most decorated clubs across all competition. They've been captained by face of American football Landon Donovan, and have also featured this guy, who I think is England's version of Donovan. Where Landon helped establish the Galaxy within MLS, Beckham's signing established MLS with the world. They both, and many others for sure, played major parts in building a legacy of success in LA. The fact the franchise's success directly benefited that of the league can't be understated. Now, that Galaxy tradition of winning is important because it takes what happened last year in 2017 and offers a new perspective. Things got bad, and the franchise has since been flailing to course correct however possible. A managerial change helped spark their collapse. Longtime head coach and general manager Bruce Arena left to coach Team USA. On his way out, Arena handpicked his former assistant and coach of the Galaxy's reserve squad, Kurt Anolfo. But Arena left him with a roster that looked nothing like the squad that recently won 3 MLS Cups in 4 years. Irish legend turned Galaxy great Robbie Keane left the squad after the 2016 campaign. So did Steven Gerrard, although that may have actually been a blessing depending on who you ask. But regardless of performance, those big-name departures forced the Galaxy to confront their future. The way was paved for a youth movement, plus just enough veterans to theoretically keep things afloat. Unfortunately, injuries began early. Before training camp, during training camp, preseason, an already young team was forced to get even younger, and as that translated into defeats, the Galaxy showed their similarly young coach the door after only 20 games. In his place, LA turned to a familiar face, former head coach Sigi Schmid. The German manager had led the franchise to their first MLS Cup back in 2002, but even he couldn't salvage the 2017 season. This team never found stability. They were awful, not just by their standards, but on a historic level. That made the 2017 offseason a busy one. On top of remaining as the Galaxy head coach, Schmid was given control of player personnel decisions after first-year GM Pete Vagenas was reassigned. Hey, if it worked for Arena, it was worth a shot given Schmid's track record. But the result, no one was safe. 15 players from the previous year's roster got axed. Schmid declined to re-sign big names. He sent homegrown talent packing via trade. He sent a message to anyone still wearing a Galaxy kit that we will be better, or else. The moves were generally applauded by those outside the organization, but would it be enough for the now sizable step needed to return the franchise to playoff form? And maybe of greater importance for today, would it be enough to steal a win from their brand new crosstown rival? These guys in black certainly hope not. If they can bleed out this clock, win or draw, they'll put the city of LA on notice. Although, they want more. Los Angeles FC's story actually begins with a different franchise, Chivas USA. Up until 2014, Chivas called LA home, and they called the Galaxy their inner-city rival. Poor play and poor revenue brought an end to both of those things. But that opened the door for a new ownership group to come in and provide some hope to a city so starved of professional sports teams. While they wouldn't play until 2018, LAFC was born. So, how does a team go from not existing to ready to play soccer? First step, hire a head coach. Bob Bradley brought plenty of experience. Team USA, Team Egypt. As of 2018, he is the only American to coach a Premier League club. But maybe most importantly to FC, Bradley has previously led an MLS team to MLS and US Open Cup titles in their inaugural season. So could he strike twice? Alongside general manager John Thorrington, Bradley went on a world tour looking to fill their empty roster. Trips to Argentina to scout reserve squads. Stops throughout South and Central America, across the Atlantic, the Pacific, turning every stone on nearly every continent. Unlike some MLS expansion teams, LAFC opened their wallet and swung trades to build a core that would hopefully provide stability. That included, most importantly, paying up for a star that could get butts in seats. Carlos Vela gave Bradley a proven offensive focal point. The former gunner looked perfectly suited for MLS play, headlining a group that, on paper, would compete. And things translated from paper to pitch better than anyone expected. In the first game in franchise history, LA blanked a Seattle team that had reached the MLS Cup final the last 2 seasons. They followed that up by embarrassing Real Salt Lake in Salt Lake. These new guys looked pretty good. As their spotlight grew, the schedule couldn't have played out any better. Third game, a new rivalry to kick off with a nickname few can beat. When today began, FC was ready for El Trafico. In just the 5th minute, this extremely poor clearance attempt by the Galaxy gifted Vela a chance from a red carpet of white confetti. His beautifully placed shot arced past the diving David Bingham. 21 minutes later, it was Vela again. This time, testing both the goalkeeper's breakdancing skills and the announcer's lung capacity. The Galaxy had some first-half chances, but failed to crack the scoreboard in the first 45. 3 minutes after half, Vela should have completed the hat trick, but the Galaxy's halftime adjustments kept him off the score sheet. Unfortunately, because Daniel Torres found the back of his own net. For Schmid's squad, it looked like 2017 was getting an unwanted sequel. The unlucky bounces were theirs, while the lucky ones went FC's way. But looking at the scoreboard now, and I'm reminded of the age-old saying, soccer's crazy. So, how'd we get here? Well, it's largely thanks to this massive, wonderful, complete weirdo of a man sprinting up the pitch. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Zlatan is a unicorn. If unicorns knew they were a gift to this world and demanded nothing but the biggest spotlight. As a player and a person, the 6'5" Swedish striker draws few comparisons. Unguardable when in the air, unfairly savvy with the ball on his foot. What he lacks in speed, he's made up for with an absurd stride. Simply put, Zlatan is one of the greatest strikers of all time, both in international and club play. If any goal could sum up who he is on the pitch, it has to be this one against England in 2012. Some might consider selling out for a 30-plus yard bicycle kick. Few would attempt it, and none else with this level of precision. By the way, that was his 4th goal of the match. He has been in high demand throughout his club career. The top clubs in the top leagues have lined up to pay his constantly growing transfer fee, and he could pick which suitor gave him the best chance at winning, which has made him one of the top 5 most decorated footballers in the world. Zlatan's game has transitioned nicely with age too, making him a dream offensive spark off the bench. Now, given all that, even at 37, imagine what he could do in a less talent-laden league like MLS. The Galaxy started imagining that in 2016. They planted the seed even before their roster had room for him. A year later, the team hosted Zlatan in LA, including a nice little dinner with Bex. That might have sealed a deal, but a knee injury spoiled things for the time being. On the plus side, for LA at least, that ACL did take a noticeable toll on Zlatan upon his return, and United had better, healthier options to play over him. Wanting nothing but to play football and build his brand, Zlatan left United and headed to LA. What seemed like an easy, quick change of kit had been a 3-year mission that finally paid off for the Galaxy. And here is how Zlatan welcomed LA to him. Importantly, not the other way around. This full-page ad in the Los Angeles Times is the quickest way to encapsulate who Zlatan is as a person. Similar to the player, he is one of a kind. There is Zlatan's response after his ACL healed on a very expedited timeline. Or Zlatan's comments about what his arrival meant for the famously large city of LA. And none of this is new. He had this sort of mentality as a teenager who shrugged off Arsene Wenger. Oh, important to note for those unfamiliar, yes, he does often speak in third person. While that arrogance has led to some detractors, the Galaxy wanted all of it. They finally landed Zlatan and let their excitement show. Considering their squad was still attempting to find their fit, having someone of Zlatan's caliber coming off the bench could make other kinks much more bearable. The Galaxy were 3 games into their season by the time Zlatan made it stateside, which set up his debut for today's showdown with that pesky new rival. But down 3-0 with 30 minutes remaining, is that the right time to take the Ferrari out for a first drive? Before Schmid had time to answer that, the Galaxy got on the board. With their forwards swarming, Servando Carrasco stole the ball away and glided this pass into the box for the streaking Sebastian Lletget to put it home. So, 10 minutes later, it was time. Zlatan debuted in the 71st minute, and just listen to the home crowd. They'd been waiting. But look, he's still less than a year removed from a brutal ACL injury. He's 37 years old. Realistically, he'd come on and feel out the system, not make some absurd impact. Okay, sure. On his very first touch, he completely exposed the FC defense and pushed up the left side with ease. It started to look like he would have a storybook moment right off the bat, but FC cut off his pass. Fortunately for Galaxy, that went right to Emmanuel Boateng, who waltzed straight into the box and sent a cross for a diving Chris Pontius to head in. 12 minutes, 2 goals, 1 goal game, and 1 Zlatan. This sort of moment is why teams have sought him out year after year. In the 78th minute, with the ball floating up for grabs, Zlatan read it beautifully through the air. 1 hop, 1 touch, and back of the net. I can't read his lips, but I have a hunch he's reminding LA, you're welcome. The home crowd lost their minds. The visiting team lost their composure. Plus, their once 3-goal lead. So that's how we find ourselves here. 3-3, opening seconds of stoppage time, with the Galaxy pushing up once again. For Schmid's team, this comeback would help prove to themselves, if not the league, that this isn't last year's Galaxy. There are kinks to be ironed out, but much brighter days are ahead. They can also deliver the first loss in franchise history to a team that, given their comparative legacies, should feel like their younger brother in this budding inter-city rivalry. But for LAFC, there is still time to prove that despite being new in town, this is their city too. They're off to a perfect start as a franchise, and thanks to their first superstar, have had the upper hand for most of today. This moment could belong to another superstar though, one unlike any who have come before him, who's looking to show he's still the deadly striker that he's been throughout his career. As Galaxy presses up and Zlatan screams towards FC's box, welcome to a moment in history.
Left it alone. Cole picks it up. Cole's cross. Ibrahimovic! Oh, are you serious?
Hey, thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to our top secret agents. If you want more secret-based content, we launched a Patreon where we have one new thing each Monday. Sometimes that's an episode of Pretty Good, an episode of our first ever podcast, The Annex, or sometimes it's just us talking about what couldn't make it into a video. If that's not your thing, no worries. We've got plenty more videos here on YouTube. May I suggest Seth's Rewinder on The Save? You'll never guess what happens. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you soon.